Hello, everybody. My name is Larissa Tormey. I am a singer-songwriter based in Ireland, and I'm going through the music through life, meeting amazing musicians, interviewing them, helping them to promote their music because I love it, and especially when they are as talented as my today's guest, Rachel Goode. And Rachel, I saw you first on television because you were taking part in a lot of competitions. You tell us all about that now. Tell us, where are you anyway? Where are you based?
So I'm based in Ballinasloe, County Galway, the best county in Ireland, in my
Of
opinion.
course. Of course you are. Right. And are you born in Ballinasloe? You're originally from there, is it?
No, I actually was born in the UK.
Oh.
Yeah, so a lot of people don't know that about me, but my whole family are from here. So when my parents got married at the time, there wasn't a lot of work in Ireland. So they decided to emigrate and they moved to the UK. They didn't plan on staying there as long as they did, but that's just how life seems to turn out. And they got married at 23 and had me at 25. And we ended up staying there until I was 13.
Okay.
So I was there quite a long time, but
Yeah, it's a big chunk of
yeah,
your life, wasn't it?
but I spent all of my holidays in Ireland. So my Christmas holidays, my Easter holidays, and my summer holidays were all spent in Ireland. And when my parents got married, my granddad gifted my mother a site. Seems to be a very Irish thing to do, have a bit of land. And my parents built the house that kind of is now my home house. And that was where I spent all my youth, my holidays. So when I lived in England, I used to say, I'm going home to Ireland for Christmas, and then when I was in Ireland, I'd say, I'm going back to England for school. So in my head, Ireland was always home, and England was just where we kind of spent our time in school, and it was always the plan to come back here. And yeah, I've always just wanted to be in Ireland.
I find this fascinating about Irish. I love Irish anyway. That's my favorite nation in the world. But I find so fascinating that you're so attached to your country, and even people who, like you just said, you grew up nearly till 13 years old now in different country. And I know my husband's relatives in America. They actually born and reared in America, and they in their 60s. The guy coming here to I live on the farm, Rachel. So he comes here, puts on the wellies, and he cries his eyes out. I miss Ireland. It's just in the blood somewhere in
I
Irish.
know, I know. I don't know what it is about this country, but yeah, I'm very proud to be
Of
Irish.
course, you should be. You should be proud. I have the same thing now about Ireland. I'm 21 years in Ireland, and like it's my home. I miss it. Miss it.
We
Funny
can
enough,
blame you now.
that's right. And like yourself, a piece of land is a big thing too, isn't it, Rachel?
Yeah, yeah.
Keeps you there.
Red is the rose that in yonder garden grows. Fair is the lily of the valley. Clear is the water that flows from the Boyne. But my love is fairer than any.
And Rachel, moving forward then with the music, when did it all start? And is there anybody in the family into music? How did you start to do music?
So nobody in my family really went the professional route. Well, actually, my cousin, I don't know if you know Sean O'Dowd. He would have
No.
been back in the day, Sean O'Dowd and the Dinglings. He was a famous show band, and he's actually back on the road now again. He released a song recently called it kind of goes, "You're never too old to dance." I don't know if you heard it on the radio.
No, great.
But yeah, he would be my granddad's first cousin. So
Okay.
he would be kind of the only relative that kind of went on to do music professionally. My granddad was a fabulous singer. He had a beautiful tenor voice. He really reminded me of the Irish singer John McCormack. His voice was so lilty, kind of when he sang his party piece was Danny Boy, and he'd kind of be like, "Oh, Danny Boy." His
Oh
voice was
yeah,
so beautiful, so I feel I got my voice from him.
a bit of a twang, we call it, is it?
Yeah, he just had the most beautiful Irish tenor voice. But we just couldn't get him to sing unless he had a few pints. So yeah, we have no videos or recordings of him, which is sad. And actually, this year was his 10-year anniversary, and I used to sing Danny Boy with him growing up, and that song means a lot to me. But other than my granddad, everyone kind of sings and everyone can kind of sing, but no one did it professionally, apart from me. My parents growing up listened to so much music and they always loved music. So that's probably another reason where my love of music came from and why I love so many different genres. I remember growing up, my parents used to listen to Van Morrison, the Bee Gees, Mary Black. That's why I'm very drawn to Irish folk.
Yeah, folk, me too, yeah.
And I remember one particular CD had Loretta Lynn's Coal Miner's Daughter, Patsy Cline, Crazy, Harper Valley PTA, and that's where I really fell in love with Patsy Cline and her voice. And I think the fact that her voice kind of, although she was kind of within the country box, her voice for me ticked so many other genres. Her voice was so very soulful and jazzy and bluesy, and I just love her. And yeah, and my mum also loved classical music. So I used to sing along with my mum's tapes when she used to play Charlotte Church, and I could hit all these notes, and we were like, oh, I can kind of sing.
She can sing.
Yeah, so it was weird, but I loved so many genres. As I grew older then, I trained classically, and I sang a lot of classical music, but my draw of my artistry always was classical, folk and country.
I introduced her to my darling, and while they were dancing, my friend stole my sweetheart from me.
When did you actually start to go and get lessons or something professionally?
So I was 8 actually when I started getting singing lessons, and I went through kind of the grades, like, but obviously I was in the UK, so it wasn't the Royal Academy grades. It was, I think, the Associated Board they were called, and I went through my grades while I lived in England. And yeah, then I came back to Ireland. I was obviously going through school, not knowing what I wanted to do. I always knew I wanted to be a singer, but when you're young, a singer to a child is someone who's famous. You don't really see any other way of being a singer and making a living other than being famous.
Yeah.
Like being like Britney Spears or Shania Twain.
As a job, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, well, what's my real job going to be? So I always wanted to be a teacher. That was kind of what my real job was going to be. But when I finished school, I went on to do a music degree because I had no Irish. Because obviously when I moved back from the UK, I was exempt from Irish, and you can't be a primary school teacher without Irish.
Oh, I didn't know this.
Yeah, which I hope they change because I think it's a shame, because that's what I always wanted to do. So what I decided then was I'll go and do a music degree and see what happens. So I went to DIT in Dublin and I did a music degree, which was very classical based. So it was all very much kind of like German lieder, French song, operatic arias, and that was kind of the focus for voice. So while I was studying away doing that, I was also gigging a lot. So I used to gig in pubs, and I was actually on the social dancing scene at the time as well. And yeah, I did my weddings, and I was trying to keep all of my artistry alive because although I loved singing classical, I also loved singing all the folk
Yeah.
and
And
country
who,
as well.
Rachel, who played? Did you play instrument yourself or did you use the band? How did that work during the gig when you were gigging?
So I had a band at the time, me and my two friends, and we were called KGM. We thought we were amazing, you know.
Of course you
We
were.
gigging bars. And then when I did weddings, I usually had someone with me, so someone either played piano or guitar. Um, so yeah, that was kind of that got me through college, you know, because college was expensive and I needed some income of money. And I loved it. I loved gigging.
Okay.
Well, and it was a lovely change from the classical scene, you
Yeah.
know.
It's kind of it's the same thing as you just mentioned, the love of cross genre, is it, to cross over and do different things. I'm very same too. I just hate to stay in one narrow genre of music. They say you have to, but I don't think you have to. Whatever rocks your boat, whatever you enjoy.
If you know what it's like to dream a dream, baby, hold me tight and let this be heaven cover me, leave me breathless. Show me heaven, please. Leave me breathless. Leave me breathless.
And tell me, Rachel, then when you finished college, okay, you finished college, you're gigging. So what was the next step? Did you start to work as a teacher then with all this degree behind you or what?
So after I got my degree, actually, I took a year out because I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. And my singing teacher was advising me to go into opera. And I kind of said, well, I don't really know. I've never been in an opera, so I don't know what to expect or whether I'd like it, you know, because people look at opera as like Andrea Bocelli and Catherine Jenkins. But they're more classical crossover, whereas opera
They are, yeah.
is like an actual show, you know, there's lights, cameras, there's costumes, you're playing a character, you know, you're not standing on stage just singing a song, you're actually playing a character. So it's kind of like musical theatre, but you sing it through opera. So I said, right, I don't really know. So I decided to do a few operas in my year out, and I did love it. But I was still gigging at the same time. So I decided then to go to Wales and do a master's in opera performance over there. Just to really kind of immerse myself into the scene to see if it was what I really wanted to do. And to be honest, even though at the moment I'm kind of not doing the opera route as such, as in I'm not doing any opera contracts at the moment because I'm in full-time college again. I grew so much as a performer because of that course. I really don't think I'd be the singer I am today if I hadn't done that course. I feel like it's benefited me in every genre because of the training I got and the people I got to work with. I had to do acting, which was something that I was so nervous about because I was always afraid of, I don't know how to even explain it, but exposing myself, I suppose, and like that, like just straight acting with no singing. I was like, oh, I can't do that. Like I can sing and act at the same time, but if you ask me to just straight act, I was like, oh no, like, but I had to. So I had to push myself out of my comfort zone when I did that course, and I became such a much better performer then because of that. And yeah,
I would love that now. And Rachel, what was it? What was the college? Was it in Wales, you said, is it?
Royal Welsh College of Music and Drama.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow. 1 year?
No, 2 years. But
2
I
years.
was 5 years in Wales. 5 years, I think, yeah.
Oh.
Is
giorno
curioso,
dammi il braccio mi avvicina
obbedisco, Signor.
che mammi di
Yeah, then I came back to Ireland and I was actually a young artist with the Irish National Opera. And I was just finding that I was dedicating a lot of my time to the opera and I was really missing the other part of my artistry. Like I had, because I had gone off the scene in Ireland, like I had kind of stopped gigging and stopped doing my gigs.
Of course, it's very hard work, opera. It's very demanding job. This you can't really do anything else.
And I wasn't in the country anyway, so I'd kind of come off the scene because I was in Wales. And you know, I came back and I was missing it. Like I needed it back in my life. So when the pandemic happened was when I decided to start kind of trying that out again. And I released something. So that was the first time I ever released anything, was actually back in 2021, last year.
And what was it? What did you release?
So my first release was Coal Miner's Daughter.
Why? Why after the opera and everything? How did that like very sharp turn? Why to Coal Miner's Daughter?
Lyrics, like when I think back, it is very funny actually. So I don't know really why, but during the pandemic, I was recording a lot of stuff and posting it on Facebook and doing a lot of lives and stuff like that. And I mixed it up. I used to sing a lot of folk and mixed in a bit of country in there as well. And then I used to do a bit of classical as well. And someone got in touch with me and kind of said, you know, you're really, really good at singing country. And I said, oh, no, well, I grew up singing country and Irish folk and classical. So that's probably maybe why you think that it suits my voice. And they said, I think you should release something. And I said, yeah, I've been thinking about it for a long time, but I was more so thinking of releasing an Irish folk song rather than a country song. But they kind of said, well, if you release, you know, either, you can always branch into the other. So
of course, it's very similar.
So I said, maybe if I can put my own twist on Coal Miner's Daughter, I'll release that. So I kind of asked for like I wanted a kind of bluegrassy acoustic style because I feel like I love folk music. So I like that particular style. I can try and insert that into the country. And I feel like I kind of got that. So that was kind of why I released it. And it's mad because so many things have happened since I released that. So many good things, you know?
In the summertime, we didn't have shoes to wear, but in the wintertime, we'd all get a brand new pair. From a mail order catalog, get money made from selling a hog. Daddy always managed to get the money somewhere.
So, Coal Miner's Daughter, interesting. That's where when I saw you first time, and I just said, "Wow, this girl can sing."
Thank you.
You really stood out. Well, that's what training is, talent plus training. That's very important. It's a hard work. Like the attitude of some people who thinks that, oh, why wouldn't you just jump on the stage and sing a few songs, and they don't even bother to pay artists. They think it's something like not a job. Like you, a prime example how much job it is, how much training went into.
Yeah, and I've spent a lot of money, you know.
Of course, and work as well. So is that song got you then into all this Irish country industry where you ended up then to be part of Glortire and even Eurovision, isn't it? Eurovision you went to. How this, that's all happened after pandemic, isn't it, Rachel?
Yeah, like, so I released Coal Miner's Daughter I think it was last year in July. Yeah, last July. Everything's merging into one because so much has happened. But yeah, I think it was July 2021. So I released Coal Miner's Daughter, and yeah, I got a phone call in, I think it was September time, saying they heard my song on the radio, Coal Miner's Daughter, and would I be interested in being one of Mike Denver's contestants for Glortira?
Oh, wow.
And I was like, oh, amazing. Because it was something I wanted to do, because, you know, you can't buy that kind of exposure.
No, you can't. No, you're right. Yeah.
And I said, I was like, maybe it's a bit soon, you know, maybe I should wait. And then I said, no, you know what, I'll just go for it. Go for it. So I went into Glortira, you know, not expecting to win or not expecting anything really. I just went in and said, I'm just going to embrace the whole experience. You know, no one really knows me on the scene. So I'm just going to go out there, sing my favorite songs and the songs I feel will show me off best, and stay true to myself as an artist and the kind of country music that I like, and hope that people like it, you know?
Yeah, that's right.
And I loved the experience on that.
Keep on shining, shine on the one that's gonna let me blue. I said blue, blue, love Kentucky. Keep on shining, shine on the one that's gonna let me blue. Well, it was on a moonlit night, stars shining bright, whispering on high, love said goodbye.
But then the Eurovision thing was a totally separate thing. So they found me on Instagram because I hashtagged Irish singer. So their song got chosen in the final 6, but they had no Irish singer. So the RT delegation.
So who wrote the song, Rachel? Like it?
And they were from Sweden.
Oh, really? So Swedish songwriters had the song and they wanted an Irish singer to sing it. That's how they got in touch with you, is it?
Yeah, so they submitted it to RT and it got to the final 6, but they had no Irish singer. So RT said, you need to find someone to sing the song. So they started looking, you know, they started scouting on social media, and they came across me and sent me a message. And when I got the message at first, I thought it was a scam. You know,
if it's too good to be true, it is too good to be true. Yeah, situation.
So I literally was like, oh, that's great. And then I was like, thanks so much for getting in touch. And maybe send me the song, and, you know, we can go from there. So they sent me the song, and then I was like, okay, this must be kind of legit. You know, I said, but sure, they've probably messaged about 100 singers, you know. So then they got back to me, or I got back to them and said, you know, it's a great song, really lively. I really hear Eurovision when
Eurovision. Yeah, I was listening to it today on Spotify as well.
So I thought, great song, and I said, look, I'll try and sing it and we'll go from there. And they said, look, we'd love to hear you sing it. So we organised a Zoom meeting. I think this was on the 23rd of December. So had the Zoom meeting, I sang the song for them, I met them over Zoom, and I said, okay, well, you know, I assume you have to go deliberate and maybe listen to a few other singers that you've got in touch with. And they were like, oh no, like we only got in touch with you, like we're only in touch with you at the moment and we want you. Great. And I was like, oh really? So I walked out into the kitchen and my mum and my granny were there, and I was like, I'm going to be on the Late Late. And it felt very surreal because it was just before Christmas. So it was a lovely Christmas present. And then I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be on Glortira and I'm going to be on Eurosong, and they're all kind of merging into the same time frame. And I'm like, oh my God, people are going to be totally confused.
No, they weren't at all. I don't think so.
My mum was like, Rachel, you know, no one would turn down that opportunity, you know?
No, of course not. You're right. So, why not?
I said, yeah, so I just kind of tried to grab it with both hands, and both of the experiences were amazing.
Super, and you done very well. I was watching you on that contest. You were very, very good.
Thank you.
Very, very good.
It was, and again, it was another genre that.
Yeah.
I mean, I sing pop at weddings and stuff like that, but I had never really kind of gone that full pop. You know, I wouldn't really cast myself.
That was very pop, yeah.
But I loved it. Yeah.
And
I'm just
Rachel,
channeling my inner Beyonce, you know?
inner Beyonce.
Yeah.
That's the next project. And Rachel, tell me then, I was looking at your Spotify profile today. You have, I think, about 5 or 6 singles in there released, most of them excluding this one, Eurovision one, country. Are you kind of towards the recording the album? And where do you record? You didn't tell us.
So I am in the middle of changing my sound to create something a bit more folk, because that's where my heart lies. And like, as in, I love the genre country, but I love the sound of the folk. So I want to try and merge the two, you know? It doesn't mean I don't want to sing country music, because of course I do. But you know, when you listen to really, really old country music, they don't sound like they do nowadays. You know, they're not overloaded with instruments, and some of them, like even if you listen to Hank Williams, it's just him and his guitar.
Yep.
And he's so famous, you know. And same with Patsy Cline. She didn't have many instruments behind her. And I want to try and create a sound like that complements my voice. Because for me, you know, singing is really about the voice and the lyrics.
Yeah.
And that is, you know, and I love dancing. So when I'm dancing, I love a beat. I jive and I waltz and I foxtrot and I do all that. But when I'm singing, it's not about the beat for me. It's about the song and the lyrics.
It's about delivery, isn't it?
Yeah.
What the song is about, of course. Yeah.
So that's what I'm trying to find now, is a sound that's my own unique sound. So that when people hear me on the radio or whatever, they're like, "Oh, that's Rachel Goode."
So who are you trying to find out it with? Or is it secret?
Yes, cannot disclose.
Okay, no problem. In the next interview. Okay.
Yeah. When I have
Yeah.
my first one released.
Yeah, we talk about it.
Yeah.
We talk about it. That's great. Rachel, listen, I just want to say at the end of the that interview that we are going to do, I'm honored actually, you are going to sing with me at the Christmas concert I'm organizing Into Our Art Theatre in Maud County, Westmeath, 2nd of December. You're so great that you said yes, and I'm sure anybody who watching you interview now will be like, you have to run, guys, to our art and buy the tickets. While
Yeah.
Rachel is not that huge yet that you can't even afford her tickets. So come up, because it's going to be very versatile show between myself, Rachel, and James Kilbane as well, amazing gospel singer. So between three of us, we will deliver amazing show. Symphony of starlight serenade sings to my soul in soft and sweetest ways. In every stranger's smile that meets my eye, the whisper of goodwill when passing by. In all we do, it's love we gently weave in the glow of a winter's eve. Rachel, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
I'm wishing you all the very best. I'm going to follow your career anyway, and hopefully in the meantime we become friends as well, as I normally do. And I will post all the links before you go, where people should go straight away if they want to listen to your music or find out information about you online.
I'm on all social media, Rachel Goode Music on Facebook and YouTube, Rachel Goode Sings on Instagram.
Okay.
And I have a website, Rachel Goode Music as well.
Super, Rachel. Thank you so much. Bye-bye now.
Thanks for having me.